My manager told HR I'd been underperforming for months. I had his written commendation of my work sitting in my email from 11 days before. I worked at the same company for 3 years. I documented everything, every draft, every version of every project, every milestone. I emailed dated copies of my own work to myself from the first week. My team thought it was paranoid. I told them it was just a habit. I had 47 of these emails by the time any of this mattered. My colleague's name was Patrick. Patrick was charming and loud and the kind of person who got credit in meetings for ideas that had emerged from other people's silence. I noticed it from month one. I didn't say anything. I just kept documenting. In January, I built out a full campaign strategy for a client renewal worth $2.3 million. 11 weeks of work. My manager Greg asked Patrick and me to collaborate, so I shared early drafts with Patrick for feedback. Patrick had been forwarding my draft emails to Greg since month 2 of my employment, every version, with his own cover notes attached. For 2 years, he had been building a paper trail that made my work look like his initiative. The collaboration request wasn't spontaneous. It was the final stage of something that had already been running for 2 years. The client presentation was in March. Greg introduced it as Patrick's initiative. Patrick presented my slide deck word for word, fielded questions about strategy choices I had made, and I sat in the back of the room and felt something shift in my chest that I can only describe as a very specific kind of cold. 2 weeks later, Greg called me in. He told me my performance had been inconsistent and my contributions had not met expectations. He gave me a formal improvement plan. 11 days earlier, 11 days he had sent a company-wide email praising my exceptional client retention work this quarter. I went home and sat at my kitchen table for a long time before I moved. Then I went to my email archive. Revealed to have been CC'd on Patrick's forwarded drafts for 2 years. She had seen everything and said nothing. She processed my formal complaint with the same hands that had received those emails. I didn't go to Greg. I went to Greg's manager directly, then to legal, then to HR's regional director, bypassing the site rep entirely. The client, the $2.3 million client, was interviewed by legal. They had retained the original working documents I'd sent them 8 weeks before the presentation. My name was in the metadata on every file. When legal showed me the forwarding chain, I didn't feel vindicated. I felt something heavier than that the weight of 2 years of being systematically erased by people who smiled at me every morning. Patrick was let go 4 months after I filed. Greg was formally warned and demoted. The HR rep was quietly transferred. The company settled with me and offered a senior title. I took the title. I stayed. Patrick sent me a LinkedIn connection request 6 months later. His message said, "No hard feelings, hope you're well." I accepted the connection. Said nothing. I wanted him to see every promotion notification. Documentation, it isn't paranoia, it's just patience with proof attached.